Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I know we talked earlier about the way we are these days from the old days.
Right.
And because we all are clean livers now.
That's right.
And, it's totally changed my world, and we all have done it for our different reasons. And I couldn't be any happier with my craft, with my life, with my kids, with my friendships. Everything is just in a really great place for me. And, and I make better decisions. I'm happy all the time. I mean, it's just no drama. Amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And being
I love it, man. That's
and
so
being
fucking great.
Being on the road, I mean, that's like, that's a challenge to be out on the road, and at the same time you're in bars, you have the stresses of being out on the road, and at the same time you got it together.
Yeah.
And the fact that that you guys are sober, because I knew both you guys were way out there. I mean, I was sober way before you guys, and it was like,
watching and seeing.
I've seen the difference in both of you. That's the bottom line. I've seen the difference in both of you. And the fact is that all of
we have too in each other.
Yeah. So I mean, the fact that we can go out and we can play on the road, do long tours still, and have our shit together.
Yeah.
I'm hoping will be inspiration for musicians that are out there struggling.
I don't know if I would ever brag about actually having my shit together.
Well, I'm just saying, that we're all out there clean and sober on the road, and that there's a lot of musicians that really struggle with being able to go into bars and especially to go out on the road and not fall apart.
Obviously I remember it myself. I mean, I guess I was, fairly young when I gave up drinking. I was 20. It was right before I joined Rick.
Right.
So it was 2008.
Yeah.
And I was 28 years old. But
same age as me when I gave it up.
I had, that was not my first attempt.
Right.
Once you've fucked yourself up on that shit, if you come to the point where you go, I gotta quit drinking, and you quit drinking for a while, you fucked yourself, because you really can never drink with a clear conscience after that. Yeah.
You agree?
I agree, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent 25 years trying to get to the point where I got to. Kept at trial and error, and as they say, doing the same thing over and over and getting the same result. But the result would be 10 times worse every time.
Yeah.
And it just, and you start, I started not losing friends, but people didn't want to, because they were kind of scared to even talk to me, or it was sad for them to watch me like that. So you have to fix it yourself. It has to come from here.
Yeah.
You have to make the decision. Nobody else can do it, and that was part of my problem. I was trying to sober up for other people. That doesn't work.
No.
And when it finally came down, okay, this is for me, I did it the right way because I took the time that was needed for me to do it, and I went through the process. And
the other thing is just what
different.
it can do to your career.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both had, we both had, reputations,
right,
out there for for being, kind of like loose cannons.
Right.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. I didn't know what was going to happen here. I remember one time. No, this is not a story about how fucked up I got. This is a story about how embarrassing it was. I mean, the first time.
Embarrassment.
Yeah, embarrassment. Because we had I got a gig after a while with Charlie Musselwhite, which was that was a big deal.
Right.
And
Charlie's sober.
He certainly understands all of these problems, and he, I always had a fascination with people who had gotten sober.
Right.
Even though I wasn't,
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, like you. I was, immediately there's something, about that the whole time. It just, it piqued my interest. I mean, it was.
How'd they do it?
Yeah, what's behind it? Because, you know, I mean, of course, when you're drunk, when you're a drunk, when you're in active alcoholism, you know, you want to drink with somebody usually.
Right.
You know, you don't want to be pals with somebody who doesn't get fucked up with you.
No.
Normally, but still, I was just drawn to people who had found sobriety,
Right.
you know, and yet remained interesting people,
Right.
you know, that you could
Right.
aspire to be like.
You can certainly count Charlie in that.
You can definitely count. Okay, thank you for getting me back on track there. So when I got I got when I was 23, 24, I got the gig with Charlie Musselwhite. I played with him for a few years. I remember the first time we were playing we had a gig at the Notodden Blues Festival, which is a huge blues festival in Norway. And before we were going there, Charlie called me up, and he had what must have been, for him too, a pretty awkward conversation. And it went something like, I'm not going to do the voice. It went something like, well, I know we're going to Norway, and I just want to make sure that I know we're home with your buddies, and I just want to make sure that I forget how he worded it, but it was basically, man, don't get all fucked up and.
He said that to you?
Yeah. It was basically, try and fucking, try and behave yourself when we're in Norway, because I didn't always become, should we say, problematic, but enough times to where
He was worried.
he was aware of it, and I'd even probably had conversations with him about, so you quit drinking, huh? Of that nature, and so I think he sensed that, that I was an alcoholic too, but I was still drinking, and boy, there's no better place to drink than triumphant return home to Norway with all your old blues friends seeing you play with Charlie Musselwhite.
Right.
So just I guess it was what you would call a high risk situation. So much so, in fact, that he felt like he should give me like an extra, impetus to try and keep my shit together when we go over there, which, of course, I did not.
Really?
Oh no, I don't think he found out about it, but
Yeah.
but I fucked some shit up.
Yeah.
I sure did. But we made it. We made it out. It's that was a great thing for me, that this is something I love about the whole music community. The blues.
Yeah. Well, blues,
playing with old people.
I think blues and alcohol was very much, at least when I finally quit drinking, I was really worried about not being able to perform without alcohol.
Right.
And I was very worried about not being considered the real deal.
Right. Yeah.
By not being a drinker. In other words, drinking and blues were so synonymous with each other.
Right.
I mean, it was like everybody I knew drank.
Yeah.
And it was like, I just thought, how am I going to do this?
Plus, when you get good and drunk and you get up, you think, you get that extra confidence, man. You start,
But the other weird thing was that a lot of the guys that I looked up to, like Musselwhite and Brownie McGee and Lowell Folsom and all these guys that I'd gotten to know, they all quit drinking around like not long after I did. And it was kind of like
you
just
were a
seeing,
trailblazer.
Well, I'm not saying it was because of me. I'm saying they just got to that point where they had to quit. They were much older than me. These guys were,
Yeah.
12 to 24, years older than me. So it was kind of like, the fact that they got to that point made it obvious that you didn't have to drink to be able to play blues.
Maybe you inspired them in some way. That's
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know about Charlie, but I think Brownie I might have a little bit. Possible.
Well, if they, if you see that somebody else can do it,
Right.
it becomes more appealing to you.
Becomes a big deal.
So that's
It's
that's
planting the seed is what it is.
yeah, that's what I saw in you and Rick and
Yeah.
Charlie and Elvin and
Yeah. Yeah.
then just
Because I got to see all those guys in all their glory.
I get this.
Especially Charlie and Elvin, man. I mean, I saw those, and Brownie. I mean, all those
It's just
guys.
like which is amazing to me because I couldn't imagine. I can't imagine Charlie or Elvin like that.
God.
Like
I'll never forget it.
well, that's
Yeah. I mean, the amazing thing about all this stuff is it's like, I remember when Paul Butterfield died,
yeah.
I thought, how did he die and Musselwhite's still alive? Because I thought Charlie was going
I'm
to
sure there's a report.
What's that?
I'm sure there's like a coroner's report or something.
I'm just saying, I mean, Charlie seemed like he was so much worse than,
Yeah, but he had a beating
Butterfield.
heart. And he had a pulse.
He had a pulse.
That's how you outlive people.
That's right.
Lazy Lester told you that.
Lazy Lester.
Yeah, good.
Lazy
What's the
Lester's
secret to a
another
long
one.
life?
There's another one, yeah.
Secret to a long life. Don't
Well,
die.
All right. Well, thank you, folks, for joining us. Wes Starr, Kid Andersen. I'm Mark Hummel. Thank you. Join us again for the next podcast.